Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor, bringing you another video on how to raise your vibration so you can live your best life. Let's talk today about love, one of my favorite topics in the whole wide world. Sorry, bumped the microphone. Love is amazing. Everything's about love at the end of the day, right? Here's the funny thing. I, as a little girl, was a lover. I still am. I love to love on people. I love to give love. Of course, I love to receive love. Who wouldn't? Who doesn't? But what's interesting is that there are different kinds of love. And we, especially in the United States, are a little bit confused because we only use one word for love, and it is used as a romantic or even a sexual word instead of the different variations of love that do exist. And there are seven types of positive love that I would like to cover with you today. There are other types of unhealthy feelings that get bucketed under love. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about this because we really need to start broadening our perspective and understanding that there are different kinds of love for a reason. And ultimately, at the end of the day, everything that we want boils down to love. If you ask why 7 times, you will find that the foundation of all of your wants and needs and desires are to feel that sense of love and belonging and support and compassion and empathy. All of that comes from a place of love. So, in my experience as a young girl, especially, love meant boys. Love meant relationships. Love meant physical attraction. Love meant being cute or pretty. And it was very interesting that my experience with love really ultimately was not very healthy, and that in many cases that it meant being absorbed into another person, that it meant being owned by or managed by or controlled by another person. And many times when we have an unhealthy attachment style, if you're unfamiliar with that, check out my video on attachment styles. It's very, very critical to understand sort of where your strategies of attachment came from, and whether or not they're serving you, and how to shift them into a healthy attachment. But of course, having the toxic childhood that I did not have a healthy attachment style. And so when someone wanted to absorb me or own me, I didn't understand that that was unhealthy. And so I'd like to have this conversation around the 7 types of love, because it's important for us to be able to love all of those people who are around us, and it can happen in different ways. That we need to embrace feelings of love and know that they can be separate from a physical attachment or a sexual attraction. I like to use the analogy of a flower, that if you're walking down the path through the forest, in the meadow, wherever you happen to be, and you observe a flower, it is likely most beneficial for that flower for you to not pick it, to be with it, to observe it, to admire it, to appreciate it, to spend time with it, to engage with it, to sense its energy, but then to leave it, to respect it as it is, and trust and know that it's on its own path, growing perfectly fine without your putting it in a cup of water. That many times in relationship with individuals, whether romantic or not, we often want to project onto it. We want to make it ours. We want to label it. We want to absorb it in some way. Instead of just being with the flower, we want to pick the flower. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when you pick the flower, it's imminent certainty of death, faster than it would have before. And so I encourage you, as you watch this video, to think about the people in your life and how you can cultivate this new level of love with them. That there are types of love that can be experienced through friendship. There's types of love that can be experienced through a significant other. There are types of love that can be experienced through family. And likely all of the people in your life will fit in one of those buckets. That there is a way to love and appreciate someone, to be with the flower in a way that doesn't need to control or absorb or identify with or own or manage in some way. That many times if we go outside of these 7 types of love, we then are coming from a egoic place, a self-serving place, a place where we need that person to do something for us. And know that if you are experiencing that type of tendency or habit in your life, that very often you are sucking the life out of that person, that you are not creating that reciprocating energy. So if you look at the way the energy moves in, through, and out of a human body, it creates a torus field. There's a movement, and actually I think it kind of goes, this way, or maybe it just depends on your angle, the person, things of that nature. But there is an energy that's moving up and down, in and out, forwards and backwards all the time. And so, if you can imagine, when two human beings come together, their energetic fields are engaging with each other. And when one person is only taking and not giving, there is a vampiric type of relationship. And I do need to do that video. It is on the list. How to spot a vampire, how to deal with a vampire. But for today, the intention of this exploration around the 7 types of love is so that we can understand how to give, how to reciprocate in that relationship, and how to open up to love that is different than a romantic or a sexual love. Open up and be willing to and consciously start to create loving relationships with all of those people around you. And of course, we can do that and also be boundaried. We can also protect ourselves as we do that. Okay, so let's quickly run through them. In the friendship bucket, and there are, like I said, there are 7 types of love. They do overlap in the different buckets, so you may hear me reference 2 of them twice, but just know that there are ultimately 7, and I will run through each number as well. So in the friendship bucket, you can also still have affectionate love. Right? You can hug a friend, you can pat them on the back, you can shake their hand. There is a healthy way, especially if you understand the love language of a person, to exchange affection in different ways. It doesn't even have to be physical. It can be through an exchange of beliefs, or even a sharing of our own imperfections, the vulnerability of authenticity, and the willingness to show up whole and complete, no matter how you are. So we can work to cultivate affectionate relationships. There are technically words that are associated with these styles of love. I am not great at pronouncing them, so I'm not going to try to butcher these words for the sake of it. But I believe for affectionate love, one I can pronounce is philia, right? So to be familiar with, right? Although I shouldn't say that because it's affectionate love. The next number 2 is a familiar love, and that is often experienced between children and parents. It can be exchanged between close friends if you've known someone for a very long time. It is generally just having gratitude and appreciation for the people closest to you, those who have supported you, those who have shown up to make a difference in your life, those who genuinely care for you. And it is so beautiful when you can allow yourself to feel love for a friend. That love can be strong, and it can be big, and it can be beautiful, but it doesn't mean that it has to cross a boundary. Someone you are familiar with and comfortable with, some might even say intimate, but it's in an emotional way, not necessarily a physical way. Number 3 within the friendship bucket, oddly enough, interestingly enough, is self-love. That we have to have self-love to be able to show up in a loving way for our friends. That we need to have self-compassion and even self-discipline. As it relates to friendship, self-discipline can be very important. To always continue to show up in a kind and loving way, to only say that which is necessary, helpful, and kind. To not be jealous or to always celebrate your friend. These are ways that we have self-discipline, that we honestly take care of ourselves and own our own crap so that we're not dumping it on our friend, that we have responsibility in protecting our friends in what we expect them to shoulder or burden for us, even if it's their job. Respect, acceptance, appreciation, not only for yourself, will also go the other way in a friendship. If you can love yourself, we teach people how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. We also are an example of how someone should treat themselves by the way we treat ourselves. So again, remember that reciprocating energy. Everything's connected. What you bring to the table will be shared, whether you like it or not, whether they realize it or not. Okay, then we get into more of the traditional love, right? A significant other, enduring love. Enduring love is so beautiful. I would say it's partially what I aspire to at the end of the relationship. It's the mature love. It's the love that is developed over time. That as you remain consistent, remain committed, and you keep showing up for that person as best you can, putting your best foot forward, they continue to fall in love with not only who you are and the relationship that you've experienced so far together, but the commitment to the path going forward. Number 5 would be romantic love. This is Eros, as we've all heard of. Romantic love is probably the easiest for us to understand because we have put this in the everyday love definition. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you choose to perceive it. Infatuation can also fall into this, and you can understand that when you first meet someone and you first feel that spark of excitement, there's a smidge of infatuation, right? It's the I must have more feeling, which is partially healthy. It's designed to drive you towards each other and to continue to cultivate the relationship. It can also include physical pleasure, physical touch, kissing, which is awesome and amazing. Certainly one of my love languages. Number 6 is a playful love. Flirting, right? This is one of the beginning stages. We're kind of working backwards here. Flirting, the beginning stages of intimate love, expressing interest in each other, being vulnerable again to say, you know what, I kind of like you. You're pretty awesome and amazing. I love spending time with you. I love being around you. A little bit of poking fun and dabbling back and forth in that flirtation can be fun and amazing, and it leads to the next levels of romantic love and enduring love. And then finally, we have the bucket of family. Like I said, there's a little bit of overlap here. In family, we also have selfless love. And as a mother, I can assure you this is necessary, especially if you have children. Selfless love is also known as agape, so we've all heard that word. But it is that empathetic attitude towards loving the other, no matter what, often known as unconditional love. That no matter how much your kids bug the crap out of you and stress you out and land you in the emergency room multiple times a year, you love them no matter what. And they can do no wrong, although they can kind of do wrong. But even if they do a little bit to cross those boundaries, you're going to love them no matter what. And that ends up leading to sort of a selfless love, that there are times where, I don't want to spend 7 hours at the hospital because your earring is pulling through your ear. But you know what? I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be there no matter what. Right? And then, of course, we also have the affectionate love. We love to hug and kiss our family, depending on your culture, depending on your location. I was just thinking this morning, this is just popping into my head, so I will share. My daughter is 5 years old. She was the one that was in the emergency room yesterday with her earring halfway pulled out of her ear. We had to have it extracted. But she loves to give kisses, and it's funny because as a baby, I would joke. Her name is Felicity, but we call her Lissy, and I would call her Kissy Lissy. And this was well before she could kiss. But it is such a beautiful gift and such a beautiful blessing because she loves to give me what she calls special kisses. And, it's pretty common in European countries, to kiss on the cheeks. But she likes to kiss each cheek as well as my forehead, my nose, my chin, and then my mouth. And it has to be in that order. And it is her giving me special kisses. It's not the same if I give them to her. So a beautiful example of affectionate love and how hugging and kissing can also be part of a family experience, regardless of your culture. And then, of course, familiar love, because we are intimately familiar with our family. Again, whether we like it or not, we can choose that unconditional love, but we have the gratitude. Gosh, sorry about that. That startled me. We can have the gratitude and the appreciation for the people closest to us, for our children, for our parents, for our cousins, aunts, and uncles, and certainly our significant others. So that was the 7 types of love in the 3 different buckets. I will say there is also a type of love that they call love that I would prefer to extract out. That's why I've not given it a number. I really don't want to call it love. But certainly an obsession or an obsessive love or a compulsion to obtain, right? A focus on your own desires more so than the other is an unhelpful kind of love. In fact, I would say, in my personal opinion, it does not belong in the love bucket, although it has been said to be considered a type of love. So I am mentioning it here, but extracting it. And I will say, just be very careful that if you are self-aware enough and honest enough, that when you start to feel that sense of must have, must, right, it's coming from that place of lack, that I can't live without that person, they complete me, I need them, right, only they can bring to me these things, these aspects, these characteristics, these feelings, then that is coming from a very unresourceful place. It is very unhealthy. And I would encourage you to do the selfless thing and recognize that there is a need in you that needs to be met by you, that to expect someone else to complete you or to make you happy or to satisfy you in any way really is taking, and it's a one-sided relationship. You're not also giving, right? So to only receive will suck the life out of that other person, and in essence, you have picked the flower. Okay. I would love to hear from you on this one. Please do comment and let me know, how are you going to, with intention, go out and make an effort to share love with people in your life, more so than your romantic partner or your children or family members. How can you start to show more affectionate love or familiar love or even self-love or selfless love for other people in your life? How can you start to allow yourself to feel those feelings of love, to truly allow the vulnerability and the openness and the bigness that love can be come through in the lives of others and those around you. Okay. Please do make sure you like, subscribe, and share. A little emoji comment is extremely helpful for the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate your support. Make sure you click this button to get notified of the next videos. Otherwise, check out this video. It is curated just for you. All right. Take care, my friends. Namaste. I love you.